I'm Katie.
And I'm Kay.
And you're listening to the Babes of Quinny podcast.
This episode is sponsored by Family Dental Center, locally owned with offices in Belleville, Frankfort, and Coburg.
The Family Dental Center has a friendly team that can help you with all your dental needs, including hygiene, cosmetic dentistry, dentures, Invisalign, veneers, sedation, and whitening.
Family Dental Center also has extended hours with appointments available before and after work and on Saturdays.
For more information, go to FamilyDentalCenter.com or follow them on Instagram at FDCFamily. Welcome to 2023. Oh, that sounds good.
I'm like holding it back too.
How are you?
My toddler gave me a cold.
I was so worried I gave it to you. I felt so bad. I was like, oh no.
This is 100% my smallest person. He was feeling kind of like congested and crummy for the last couple days. And yesterday I started to feel a little bit tingly in the nose. And today I'm just like full blown, like decongestant, like Vapo rub, like give me all of the things.
Yeah, I think it's going around. I had it, Jeanette had it. It's not fun.
Yeah, no, and I'm pretty much over being sick. Like
I feel like one of us is always sick.
It's so true.
It's so fun. We're in 2023 now though. And I realized something about New Year's.
What?
It's trash. Because I'm like,
we went into 2023 in retrograde though.
Yeah, and I went in with a migraine. Like it was horrible. And I just feel like there's always this expectation, like new year, new me. One night, striking midnight is not going to fix all my problems. And I go in with the false expectation of like, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and everything's going to be fine. I'm not going to be mentally ill anymore. And I'm still mentally ill, so I don't love New Year's. That's my rant. Thank you.
New Year, same me.
I post that on our story. New Year, same me. Nothing's changed, so...
The picture you posted, you're like, anxiety.
Jeanette and I watched that reel we posted, you and I posted yesterday. The facial expressions I'm making throughout it are just like panic.
Straight panic. I did kind of corner you into that one though.
I loved it. I was like, you know what? That's my real authentic self.
Yeah, that's you to a T.
Yeah, and I think I'm just accepting... Like, I'm mentally ill. It's not getting fixed. I'm trying my best, and that's it.
So. Honestly, I think that's all anybody could ever ask is, like, are you trying your best? Yes. Then it's like, yeah, this is what you get.
And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I just think people don't need to, like, feel like they have to change or fix everything just because it's a new year.
Well, the one thing I found, like, even myself, I was putting together kind of, like, a reel of, like, the previous year. And it looked really sparkly and nice.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, it was not sparkly and nice for moments. Like, there were some pretty gnarly moments in 2022.
I think last year was one of the hardest years of my life.
Yeah. But, I mean, you know, the roundup of the year just makes everything look sparkly and new and
maybe we should start
all these things.
a trend where we post, like, the dumpster fire that was our year. Like 2022 dumpster fire, and you post like all the bad
There's
photos.
A cat in my closet right now, and she's going apeshit. And
I was like, do you not like my idea?
No, I love your idea. I think more honesty about what actually is going on instead of like this curated thing is. I feel like we do that.
Yeah, there were some highs. We started a podcast, and it's doing pretty well, so I'm happy with that.
I mean, yeah, no, of course. Like, I'm super grateful about, like, all the good things. But there's a lot of chaos behind my brain.
Let's acknowledge the chaos and the bad things, too. So, love it.
It kind of makes me feel better, though.
The chaos?
Like, acknowledging it. Because, like, I don't know. I always feel like I have to, like, hide it because, you know, it's not, like, the normal or the socially acceptable thing. But it's like, you know what? Like, this is who I am.
This is who I am. I try my best, but I think I spent so long hiding it too that it's just exhausting now to have to like hide
I'm pretty
it.
sure there's like a therapy term for that. I think it's called masking.
Oh, I mask hardcore. So
Yeah.
here we
Guilty.
are. Guilty of masking. We recorded our guests today, technically still in 2022, so it is a time machine. But it's another educational episode. And I like it.
I loved like learning about our guests this week.
And their passion for what they're doing is just chef's kiss.
And I cried for the second time on the pod.
I almost cried. I almost shed a tear. But
I feel like I'm just going to start counting the amount of times I cry on the podcast.
Maybe we should have a running tally.
I feel like that's probably accurate.
I like it. They were great. You'll learn a lot. They're local. They're women owned. Doing great things for
Love
people. Without further ado, please enjoy this chat. Today we are chatting with the owners of New Hope Surrogacy. New Hope is a Canadian consulting agency that takes pride in supporting couples and individuals through surrogacy, egg donation, embryo donation, and adoption journeys. We are keeping this introduction short because we want to hear it all from the directors themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, please welcome Julia and Jenna from New Hope Surrogacy. Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for coming. We're very excited. Like, I was a little nervous.
Yeah, because I know nothing about what you
but
do.
that's perfect. And that's literally why we are here, because there is so many people who don't know anything or know very little or know facts, you know.
I feel like that's
the
it
big
too.
thing.
It's just not in like day-to-day conversation.
And it
It's
should
not.
be.
Yeah. Well, I think we're moving in the right direction because everybody is thinking in terms of alternative, as far as not traditional nuclear families. Like everything is being redesigned and created to be more inclusive and all those kinds of things. So that the timing is right as far as us being the Canada's first to do this all under one.
Are you Canada's first?
We are, yeah.
Holy cannoli.
Yeah.
That's my word today, cannoli.
I love it.
I think I'm hungry. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So it's been a combination of what our personal lives have presented for us and our personal experience. And then professionally, we've just seen where all those gaps are. You know, we both have been in the industry for a long time. And so the gaps in the services that we identified, we've just been working to close. And so some of that has to do with all of the ways of how to build your family in an alternative way. So it's not just surrogacy, it's not just adoption, it's not just. And then the embryo adoption piece came because that's sort of a dual, or it's sort of serving many purposes, because there is sort of an actual crisis in Canada where there is so many embryos that are just sitting and have been created, and the families up to this point really have been given two options, which is I guess it's three really. There's to leave them. You can continue to store them and freeze them forever until the end of time. You can donate to science, or you can destroy them. And so for many families, most of those options don't feel great. And because all those families have come through a road of struggling to build their family, there's that empathy and compassion piece where they understand why someone would be seeking to adopt an embryo. So we're working with the clinics that we work with a lot to really just get the information out there, so when families have embryos that are sitting, they understand that there is this other option. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I love your passion about this. This is cool. That's my favorite part about interviewing people, is like the passion they have for it.
Yeah.
And that kind of gets to like my first question, I think. How did New Hope start? What was the journey to get there, and what kind of happened to start it? / how old is?
So we've been in business for just a year now.
Okay.
I mean, I say just a year, but it feels like it's been a whirlwind of a year.
Yes.
So we've been in the industry like 10 years.
Yeah.
Professionally and personally, with our own surrogacy journeys. And I guess we just sort of identified gaps in the industry with our own journeys. We wanted to make something that was bigger and better, that supported people of all walks of life. And we started this technically December last year. It was actually January 2nd that I announced to the world of this is New Hope. And hopes to give new hope to all these people that are waiting for their families. And Julia came aboard, and
it was almost 8 years ago that we met, like to the day, because we were neighbors in Belleville General delivering surrogate babies.
Oh, wow. So you've both had
we knew each other before because we were supported through the same
we only
agency
ever talked online.
Yeah.
And then
so we knew each other virtually.
One day before I did. And so
it was her first and my second at the time. I've had 3. You've had
a lot.
Of surrogacy?
Yeah, surrogate babies.
Yeah, so I've completed 5 families, but within that, I've actually delivered 8 babies. So I carried a set of triplets. I know.
Holy crap.
Pretty much.
How did you decide to be surrogates? I feel like that's a very big decision.
Huge, yeah. For me, it was really about my personal journey. So my ex-husband and I had tried for 7 years to build a family, and ultimately decided to pursue adoption to go that route. And so my oldest daughter, who's not here, is adopted. So she came to us through adoption. And then before her adoption was even final, it was a public adoption here in Belleville. And before it was even final, I got pregnant with
Oh, okay.
So I'd actually experienced, I got pregnant and then had a loss, which was, at the time it was like, what the heck was the point of that? Like we had our daughter, I was a mom, I had sort of achieved the big goal. And after 7 years of intervention and then adopting, to get pregnant naturally and be stunned and say a lot of bad words because I just was so stunned. And then at 9 weeks, we lost that baby. And 5 months later, I got pregnant with Sophie. So at the time, like I said, it was like the most cruel. I was just like, why? Why did this, because I was fine. Like it would have been fine to just carry on. My ex and I were talking about putting our names on the adoption list and, sort of opening the idea of adopting again, but we were good. And then Sophie came along, and I realized that it was about me just trusting that my body could do it after all those years. And so when I got pregnant with Sophie, I just knew that if this actually happened and there was a human that came of it, I had to do it for someone else. So, and for me, the first time I heard about surrogacy was when I was still trying to get pregnant, because our fertility doctor in Toronto at the time, it was just, general diagnosed, there was no real hard answer as to why this wasn't happening for us for so many years. So at the time there was IVF, there's this, we went as far as insemination. And then I was like, I needed to tap out at that point, physically and emotionally. But, it was first brought up to me then as an option to build my own family.
Okay.
So,
and then Jenna, what's your journey with surrogacy?
So I've had easy pregnancies with my own children. I always heard about surrogacy more so in the US, but it was always the horror stories of, she's kidnapped the baby and all of these terrible things. So I was like, okay, I want to do this for someone, but I didn't think it was even legal in Canada at the time. And I had a friend who, we have this mummy group of all my second child's age group. We all within 2 months delivered at the same time, basically. So there's 60 of us across the world.
Holy crap.
And so one of the women there was a surrogate in the US, and I was like, oh, so it can go good. They are, the parents can treat you well. And so I started looking up what does that look like in Canada, and the differences between US and Canada. Where in the US it's compensated, you're paid for carrying a child. Here in Canada, it's reimbursements. So it's something totally different. But then once I was like, okay, you can do it here. How do I go about that? So I started, the Google rabbit hole, finding whatever agencies were in Canada at the time. And I just felt like because I had something, my pregnancies were so easy that I was like, I felt like I had to give that to someone. My family was complete with my own kids and my bonus children. So I just wanted to give back. And I was a one and done person in my mind. I was like, I'm going to do this once and, just give back to the world and carry on with my life. And now I'm a lifer. I'm currently trying to work on my 6th journey.
Holy.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm telling my brain that this is the last time. if I just tell myself, I might believe it.
Yeah.
If I just repeat it over and over.
Surrogacy, are they implanting like someone else's egg,
a complete embryo,
yeah. And then it's not your DNA. You're just like the incubator.
Yeah,
yeah. So it's the gestational surrogacy. Okay. There is something what's called traditional surrogacy, where it would be the surrogate who's carrying it would be their egg, but that's not as common in Canada. There's actually few clinics that support that anymore. But yeah, it's totally different genetics. It doesn't necessarily mean that it may be like that mom's. She could have had an egg donor or something as well, right? So,
or of course, our same-sex clients have egg donors.
Absolutely.
And so,
that is very cool. That's like the one thing I was like really, because you guys had reached out to us, and I was like, I really love all this, but I'm like, I need to know if they like support like the LGBTQ community. Absolutely. And then I saw that, and I was like, I love them.
Okay. Yeah, we feel good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's really a dream, right? Like we were talking before we started recording, how like, you just end up doing what you love sometimes with the people you love. And it's crazy when it all comes together, but it's really, not only do we love each other and love working with each other and have had an amazing bond with each other, with another woman who has done what I've done, and like that, those types of experiences you share with each other. But it's also been about just really injecting our own family missions into our work. So inclusivity is huge, particularly because it's very important to Jenna's family.
Yes.
And so adding the adoption pieces, adding all those pieces that we have, it's all like near and dear to our heart stuff. And it's great that we can... And it's great that people seem to be really connecting to it. Like you say, like it's just really...
I feel that just on social media, and maybe it is just because social media, people are sharing their pregnancy journeys more and sharing that like it's not all perfect, and you're not just doing a photo shoot and having this like lovely pregnancy and there's loss and there's heartbreak and you're doing IVF and it's not this perfect journey for everyone. So I think that really is probably helping people.
And we tried to portray that too on our social media of it's not just, we have a transfer and it works and it's beautiful and you have a baby at the end. Why I said I was working on my 6th journey, it feels like it's been a very long 6th journey. So I tried to have a sibling for the last child I carried for, and then at 6 weeks I had a blighted ovum, which is just like an empty sac. No baby actually grew. And then the most recent couple that I've been trying to help, we had 4 failed transfers. So we're very transparent on our social media that it's not
all rainbows and sunshine.
Yeah. It doesn't always just like...
Because people also get the false impression of, I have a surrogate now, so everything's just going to be perfect. Like but there's still so many things into play. Embryo quality, how you respond to medication, all of those things can affect how things work, right? So, and embryo quality is, the main reason really why things don't work.
Yeah. I think when we were looking at those gaps in the services, that was a biggie. Like, so when we put our team together, we have included a lot of enhanced supports as far as things not going the way you hope, and also just the idea that this isn't just a 9-month or 10-month long engagement, we really wanted it to be the idea that sometimes it takes a village to create the baby and it takes a village to raise these babies and to be as successful as we can be supporting each other. So we have an early years specialist on our team, we have a nurse practitioner, we have a social worker, and all these people play key roles throughout every stage of the journey, making sure that everybody is feeling confident and supported emotionally and ready for the next step. One of the first programs that our earlier specialist does is partners to parents, and it's so brilliant because it just really makes you start to think, I certainly never had anything like that. So to sit down and think about okay, so who's going to do what? And how is that going to feel when you're now the parent together, or, you're trying to work together on no sleep and all the rest of it, right? Yeah. We're really trying to not just make people parents or help them get to parenthood, but help them be the most successful they can be when they do get there.
I saw that on your website for the intended parents. You have a full checklist and you do background checks, and I think that's really important too, that I believe you should have to have a license to be a parent, but that's just me.
Right? I know. Yeah.
I have many feelings about this.
Yeah.
It's just because I have 2.
Yeah.
And like whenever I hear something bad happen with children and it's like from neglect or all these things, I sob because I'm like, I just want to love you.
Yes.
Like, and there's so many parents and people out there that just like want to have.
I agree with that wholeheartedly about parents really should have a license. So I'm sure my son would be okay with me sharing this because we are very open about his journey. But my son is trans. So he was assigned female at birth, has now recently, we've done a legal name change, all of those things. A lot of his friends and like different support groups we go to is the only time they can be themselves is in these groups or in these youth classes. They can't be themselves at home. And, you know, I'm known as the village mom to all of these kids. Sorry.
No, you're going to make me cry. This is an episode.
I was like, no, this is like everything. No, like, I want to be
I was literally
the mom. Like, I just want to be like.
Yes. Can I ask how old you're?
He's 12. He will be 13 in February.
My partner and I were talking about this morning because my niece just asked me, like, boys have a penis and girls have a vagina. And I was like, yeah, but sometimes they don't have to.
Yeah.
And, you know.
I know. I hate the gender norms. And, like, when you're like, are you a boy or girl? You're essentially asking, do you have a penis or vagina? And, but, I mean, like you just said, that doesn't apply to everyone. And with more recent generations, obviously people are being more accepting and things like that. But it's the older generations that are so set in their ways. And Christmas was a very difficult thing for us with, you know, like it was always, well, it's that name isn't who he is. Well, now we've legally changed it. So yeah, that is who he is. Like honor that, respect that, or you don't have a presence in our life kind of thing.
Snap.
Yeah.
Like, queen
Can I just
mom.
say like how much I respect that you're just like, I'm just gonna love you like no matter what. Like it makes me feel so like hopeful that, you know, there's good people out there and I'm gonna cry. There's good parents out there who are gonna like accept these kids and like, God, dude.
Why are we crying this episode?
I have so many feelings.
Well, and that's
it's the kids
thing,
that
like,
just gets me.
Yeah, I mean, it's I've seen firsthand like the suicide rates with children who are anything LGBTQ are extremely high, especially when they don't have support. If they have at least one parent supporting them at home, that rate drops significantly. And I just don't understand all these parents who just don't support their kids. Like
you
it's a life or death situation. If I didn't support him, he may never reach adulthood. And that's like, what is that going to do to someone that, I caused my child to not be here? Like, that's not okay.
Oh my God, I would.
Right? So
it doesn't even cross my mind. It's like, if my child says anything, just like, I want to do anything. I'd be like, great, let's do that.
Yeah.
Like,
and to sort of bring it full circle back to surrogacy, when we were meeting with the most recent doctor about starting puberty suppressants to kind of stop, like press pause on puberty. It doesn't, no lifelong effects other than like kids, hetero kids, cis kids use it if they start puberty way too early, like that are, you know, 7, 8, 9 starting it and they want to press pause until they're older. One of the things that the doctor asked was about his plans for children in the future, because if there was something that he wanted to have biological children, you know, going down this path can jeopardize egg quality. So we did kind of look into that, and he's like, my mom can just carry and I'm like, I will be too old by the time you want to have children. But yeah, it's just so common knowledge in our house and common conversation of like, my mom just carries baby for everyone. Like,
it's interesting because my extended family, most of my family's adopted. It's like my mom and her brother are adopted. My dad's sister's adopted. My grandpa was like abandoned, and then his who was like looking after him adopted him. And I remember I said to my nieces, I was like, because I'm queer, and so my partner and I would have, like, if we were to have kids, it'd be another thing for us. Yeah. And my nieces are like, well, are you gonna have kids? And I'm like, well, we'd probably adopt a baby. And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, well, someone would have a baby and we'd take. And they're like, you're gonna steal a baby? And I was like, yeah, shh. I was like, yeah, don't tell anyone. But I'm like, no, like, but growing up for me, that was just the norm, right? So it's like, I'm like, so many people are adopted, but so many people don't talk about it, or it's not a part of their life.
That's it. So. And that's really the goal. Like, we want to get people to the point where it is just normal. Like, where that question wouldn't even be asked, because it's just another normal way to create a family. My kids, like yours, grew up with us carrying other people's babies. So Sophie we'd be in Walmart and she would see a pregnant woman and she'd say, oh, is it your baby? And so that would prompt some conversation for sure. But yeah, because it didn't mean that it necessarily was. And because we have adoption and surrogacy in our family, just because you grew in my tummy doesn't mean you're mine. Yeah. Just because you didn't grow in my tummy doesn't mean you're not mine. So sometimes we need a whiteboard. But
that's fair.
Yeah. But it's, trying to just get the world to catch up with the way that we are, and just being like, this family means a bazillion things, really.
So many things.
Yeah. My favorite story is when I was carrying the triplets and I was in the grocery store with my 3 kids, and someone's like, oh, you're having, a little brother or sister. And my kids just like verbal diarrhea at this poor woman. They're like, there's 3 babies in her belly and they're not ours. Just like this whole rant about, and she just like deer in headlights look on her face and just walked away.
She's like, nope, that was too much.
That's honestly the best thing about kids.
And when we talk to women who are considering surrogacy, often they're concerned about how this may affect their children. And the first thing we say is like, that's not it. See how your mom and your aunt. You're worried about them, not your kids, because it's so simple to them, right? Like, it's just easy. When I explained it to them, I just said, my intended mom, her tummy didn't work that way, and because of their age, obviously now they get it, so she could probably do IVF herself. But when they were that age, like my oldest daughter Carrie thought the embryo looked like a flower, and she thought I ate the flower. I was like, no, I didn't eat the flower. Anyways, but so it is just so simple to them. It's just, and so if we can get adults to just sort of,
it's really adults that are the problem.
Oh yeah, it is. Well, yeah, because kids, if it's normal to you, then it's normal to your kids. Like, it's it's easy.
Like, I ran a home daycare back when my kids were smaller, so they understood the concept of kids come over, I watch them, and then they go home at the end of the day. So that's how I explained it to mine, was I'm babysitting a baby on the inside until it's big and strong enough to go home to their parents. And they're like, okay, cool, can I have a snack? Like, no follow-up questions, did not care.
They're good, Mom.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so we talked about surrogacy and somewhat touched on, like, intended parents. So since you guys have opened, how have people kind of taken? Is there a lot of intended parents that
so that ratio is always going to be crazy, unless my dream comes true. But always going to be more people needing help than there are people who are either willing, able, or know that they can. So those are the big hurdles there. But yeah, we've had because we've been in the industry for a while, we had some clients and connections and that kind of thing that sort of followed us from our previous employment. We both left another agency to take a little reprieve and then embark on this. So we have worked together for a long time too. But so surrogates have come in many ways to us, either from previous connections or just one of the things that we are doing with New Hope as far as our marketing budgets and advertising budgets is that we are, anything that is not social media is all dedicated to donation, sponsorship, and volunteering our time. So a lot of talking, a lot of being in the community like we are today, and trying to just reach out to more people and get people to think about kids, think how kids think about it. Think that way, right?
Please don't be a dick.
Yes, exactly. Yes, pretend you're 5. Just let me tell you this.
And so, can we talk about like egg donation? And one of my questions was the difference between egg donation and embryo donation, but I think we kind of touched on it. But just egg donation, how that process works.
Yeah, for sure. So for egg donors, there's some pretty strict physical stuff, whereas for surrogates, it's funny because I sort of say, like, you're just the carrier. like it's not. But the difference is that there's not the genetic component, right? So for egg donors, there's a much more stringent process as far as qualifying to do so. There's age restrictions and that kind kind of thing. Clinics will all have their own kind of general requirements and that kind of thing. And then it's a pretty small period of time. It's, if you can imagine a woman's cycle, you know, she takes medication and then things are sort of built up to hopefully boost the number of eggs she creates and that are available to extract. Mm-hmm. And then those eggs are kept or created into embryos depending on where the recipient is. So recipients of egg donors aren't necessarily involved in surrogacy. They could be for personal use too. So it depends on what our clients are coming to us for.
So there may be people coming who are using their own eggs.
Who are hoping to carry their...
Yes. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's a couple of different ways.
Not all egg donors, like the eggs retrieved from that, go into, say, a surrogacy journey. Right. It could be for personal.
Okay, question.
Yeah.
What is like egg freezing? Is that completely different?
No, same. No. So it's like, once the process, once the egg is retrieved, it would either be frozen and used for later. So that would be like if for the purpose of our conversation, if it's intended parents who are using a surrogate, and they don't have a surrogate yet, but they have an egg donor. They'll get their egg donor, cycle her, have her eggs frozen maybe. And then because our clients are all around the world, sometimes there's travel involved. And so they may come to Canada to create their embryos, and then they'll be frozen as whole embryos. Or they may decide to, if they have a huge yield, I mean, some of these incredible women yield 40 eggs in one donation.
I think that happened to my friend.
Yeah.
Like sometimes all, like the normal, and then she was like triple that.
Overachiever. Yeah. So sometimes it's crazy. So if that happens, sometimes they'll choose to fertilize half and just leave the rest frozen as eggs. And then if everything lines up and something can happen where it's a fresh situation, it would be the egg donor has her retrieval, the embryos are created, and then the embryologist spends the next few days, you know, watching them and seeing how they're doing. And then they usually freeze them at 6 days now, which is amazing because when we started.
It's 5 is usually the most common.
Yeah, they can do 6.
They do 6, even 7 if they need a little bit more time to grow.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we started, it was like day 3.
3-day embryos were normal, even day 2. Yeah. So in a decade, it's amazing what has happened.
Does freezing the embryo or egg lower?
No.
No. Crazy science.
It is literally
that is the coolest thing.
I assumed it would like lower the...
No.
They used to think that frozen IVF cycles had less success rates than the fresh transfer that we're talking about, that you sync up your cycle to be able to transfer it at the certain day and never freeze. But they've done multiple studies and there's no difference. Like if there is, it's like a 0.01% change, like difference.
Yeah, as far as success, but even embryologists have said to look at it, you cannot tell. Like, so under the microscope, there's no difference between.
That is so
when
cool.
you donate an egg.
Yeah.
Do they just put it in there and then shoot the semen in?
No.
How does that work?
Well, it's done like in like a petri dish idea, right? Where
but then the
many
embryo, they
ways.
Actually are making sure it's like forming into...
the cells are multiplying. And then, so when you look at an embryo, that's why I said my oldest daughter said it looked like a flower, because the one embryo I had used one cycle was like there was a cell in the middle and then cells all around it. So it looked like a flower.
So you get to see that and then it goes...
Yeah.
That's really cool. There's many different ways, not just that they just throw, a handful of sperm in.
I'm just like, what are they doing?
Yeah. But you, they can do like assisted
hatching.
Sort of. I guess that's the right word I'm trying to think of.
I feel like
where they basically like pick the sperm and they inject it into the egg.
I've seen that. Like, it's like a little.
See, my brain is like. Friends, it's like Phoebe.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But
I know. But that's that's why we need to talk more about it, right? Because everybody does just think of those situations. And yeah.
Okay.
I just think of that movie from like the early 90s where you just see the little sperm. It's like Lucas talking, you just see the sperm like going through everything. And I'm just kind of like, that is permanently imprinted in my brain.
That's how you think babies are made. That's it.
That's how they're made. I'm pretty sure.
It is. Yeah, I know. Well, my kids think you go to Toronto and that's how you get a baby, because that's where the
to this day, whenever
my clinics in Toronto,
whenever my stomach hurts, my mom's like, "Did Jeanette get you pregnant?" I'm like, "Yeah, we did it. We defied science."
I mean,
we don't need men.
No, they're stupid. JK.
Just kidding. We love.
And then, so how, you said you have clients around the world.
Yeah.
So is that both intended parents and surrogates?
So all surrogates and egg donors would be in Canada.
Okay.
And all intended parents and recipients of egg donors could be around the world.
Oh, wow.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So do you find, because you're the only one in Canada doing all these things, are you getting a lot of people?
I think the feedback has been great. I was in New York was that November?
Yes.
Okay. We've collaborated with an organization called Men Having Babies for years, and so obviously
I love that name.
Yeah, it's
Beautiful.
So fun. It's such a great event, and so we had some great feedback there. Just because we're still sort of announcing this to the world that we're doing this all under one umbrella, and all the services that we do have. I mean, one of the biggest ones with the embryo adoption thing is that so often we saw in our previous deployment that once all the embryos were used, if there hadn't, like what happened, like if you have several failed transfers or you utilize all the embryos, often that's the stop for the intended parents. Like it's financially, emotionally, everything, they're tapped out. They can't. Mm-hmm. So with embryo donation, if that intended parent is open to a non-genetic child, then that is another chance at a family, where it used to just be that would be thrown in the towel. That would be it.
So just wondering, you're the first company doing, is it just because you're doing surrogacy, egg donate, like all of that? Usually it's just like
and
one
adoption all in one.
Yeah, okay. There are other companies that do surrogacy and egg donation, and then ones that just do egg donation or just surrogacy. But yeah, we want it to be that full. Again, like it's just so personal. Like
if something doesn't work, it's like you have to go through that whole other emotional process of getting to know new people.
Tell your story again. That was always my thing. I don't want to tell it all over,
Exactly, and it's exhausting emotionally to have to like retell all these things over and over and over again. So when you're working with like the same people for multiple different options, then that's really, really, I really love what you guys are doing.
I do too, yeah. I wasn't sure because freaks me out, and I think we're in a population crisis. Yes, but I was like, I love this. Yeah. And I think it is helping a lot of people.
I think so too. And I mean, we've even had, I think it's just one client at this point who's decided that it's the end of the road as far as their family building.
Yeah, just the one so far, but that was more just financial and emotional. That even with all our support and our availability of our social worker, unlimited amounts, they just said, we can't any further. And
that, I mean, that's obviously it's hard for us because we want to see the end game, right? But yeah, that's sort of the idea of having all of these things, is that we form these relationships with people at the beginning of when they're hoping to become parents, and whatever and however long it takes to get there, we hope to stick with them and keep advocating and finding different avenues for them to, as long as they still want to keep fighting, we'll keep fighting for them to become parents.
Yeah, like that one couple that we're speaking about, they've met 1 million people. They emailed us afterwards of saying, after all the people that they've met throughout their entire journey for years and years now, that, they thanked us for being so available and just being there for them. And they were very thankful that we crossed paths, even if it didn't result in them growing their family.
Yeah. I think one thing we really want to make sure we always are is not jaded in this process. There's so many, all the moving pieces, the lawyers, the clinics, they all get pretty, their bedside manner doesn't really,
doesn't translate.
Because you're a number, you're a file, you're a patient that's just, in for a procedure or whatever. So us trying to keep it as personal as possible and have that availability to them, or be available to them rather. Like it's a little thing for us, but it's huge for them, I think. And we're not ever going to lose that.
Yeah. Like I've had consults on the weekends, and just because, people, especially in different parts of the world and their work schedules, I try to adapt to when they're available. I've had them be very thankful that I've taken time away from my weekend, and very grateful. And that is ultimately what they said, why they chose us, is because our response time was so great and we were available and we worked around their schedule, that they were like, we're going to go with you. And our wait times are significantly less than other places that have hundreds of people on their wait list. But
Yeah, we both went into this. I think we're probably like two of the least like, I don't want to use this word, but like we both are just not greedy. Do you know what I mean? Like just very like we're both very, it doesn't take a lot to make us happy. It doesn't take a lot to keep our kids happy and our families running and that kind of thing. And so we wanted to go into this with the idea of keeping our client list low so we can really manage that wait time. That's the really only thing you can do in this world to try, because there's so many unknowns. So if we can try and manage how many people are waiting for women to do this, then that's the best way to do it. So we just are constantly evaluating that, and because every week it changes, there's connections made and there's people who move on to the next stage and that kind of thing. But that was a big point for us, that we didn't want people to be waiting even longer, because essentially when people come to us, even if they are same-sex couples who know that this is a process they need to include if they want to build a family this way or build a family, they come already having been through stuff, you know, and certainly the heterosexual couples, we are usually their last stop, their last chance, their last hope. And so it's not like, you know, us saying it could take 3 to 6 months to find a surrogate. You know, it's not like they're just waiting 3 to 6 months. It's been years. Their process has been years. So trying to be as efficient for them at this point in the game is important.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I feel like people at this point are very vulnerable, and they're putting that trust in you, and the fact that you can empathize with them and give them that safe space is really important.
Yes.
Hey, Kate, did you know that 22% of people have dental anxiety?
I didn't know that, but that's not surprising since we both have dental anxiety. But do you know what helped me?
What?
Having Dr. Yasmin, the owner of Family Dental Center, on the podcast. She made me feel ready to go to the dentist again.
The Family Dental Center will help you with all your dental needs, including overcoming your dental anxiety, which may be holding you back from going to get your teeth checked.
They have locations in Belleville, Frankfurt, and Coburg, with a welcoming team to make you feel comfortable throughout your entire dental experience. FDC also has flexible hours to work around your schedule, plus they're taking new patients.
Book your appointment online today at familydentalcenter.com or give your desired location a call. Follow the amazing FDC team on Instagram at FDC Family. The adoption process.
Yeah.
So how do you assist people through, well, it says public and private, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
So private is where you're working with an adoption practitioner, and there's agencies who work with that. You know, women come to the program who are looking to adopt a child out to a family who is looking for a child. And then the public way would be through CAS and the other organizations that are here locally. The adoption stuff so far, we've really just been focusing on local. I've been involved in the adoption stuff. My daughter's going to be 17 in February, and she came to us when she was 1. So about 15 years now, I've been really involved in the support side of adoption and what that looks like. And then also just that peer support in parenting through adoption. Just like anything, like we have a lot of peer support within our surrogacy programs and egg donation. There's nothing like being with someone who has actually been through that process, right? So from my perspective as an adoptive mom and that kind of thing, connecting with other women. But as far as what New Hope does for adoption, it's really about connecting with people and doing legwork for them. Again, it's like somebody comes to you and for whatever reason, they're going to do adoption. They're going to travel down this path of a bazillion unknowns. And so somebody who's done it before and has some professional connections who can be like, okay, let me connect you with them. They're going to be a good person to talk to. And walking through the steps of how do you create your profile? How do you, the home study, all those kinds of pieces that are required in that process, which by the way, going back to license for parents, why don't parents even have to do a home study or anything?
Like, so to adopt a kid, you have to have like all these things.
Yes.
But I can just right now.
You could just pop one out.
Corner right there.
Yeah.
That's guys. I didn't realize all that.
There's professional and personal references you need to obtain. You have to show financial records. So it is. There's a lot of.
And do you help? Like, would you help? Like older kids. Like, if people want to adopt older kids, is that a thing too?
Totally. So this is all, again, we're a year old, and a lot of these things are personal passion things that we hope to continue to grow and develop within the program. And so the adoption piece for me is obviously very personal. My daughter hopes to one day work with us in the program too, and share her experience as an adoptee, which I think will be so valuable. The hope is that as as we continue to grow, we're going to have more people join us in all of the services we provide, and just, have it to the point where women who find themselves needing to pursue adoption for their child know that we're a place that they can come to as well. But at this point, it's really been about parents or hopeful parents who are considering adoption, and me just sort of getting that information to them, sort of helping them weave through what the next step would be if they did want to do this versus, public versus private and that kind of stuff. So,
and also having access to our social worker.
Yes,
because you have
social worker. We have an in-house social worker. Yeah. So, as I'm sure you may imagine, if someone's maybe giving up on trying to conceive naturally and going down the adoption path, there may be a lot of feelings and emotions that come up with that. So we want to make sure that they're supported mentally as well as much as possible.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. Yeah. Is like, regardless of like what situation you are in life, like you need to like talk to somebody. Yeah. Like we're big proponents of therapy.
And, like, it's okay not to be okay. Yeah. Talk it out.
About everything. Yeah. Yeah. So I love the fact that you guys have integrated that into it, because a lot of even just pregnancy is exhausting. Yeah. And all of it, it's overwhelming. And so to have that support is like invaluable.
Having the social worker in-house and unlimited access for parent surrogates, anyone that may be in our agency, part of our program, came from more of a personal stance of why it's so important. So after the triplets, the pregnancy went amazing. Could have not, obviously, carrying 3 babies. There was no bed rest or anything like that.
I saw her the day before delivery, and I was like, I think you can do another week. She was like, shut up.
I was still driving. I don't know.
She was amazing.
Probably shouldn't have been. But anyways.
It was unreal.
The seat can only go back so far.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm like, how did your arms reach? But
I got longer arms. No. But the delivery did not go so well due to medical errors, malpractice, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Miscommunication is what they said.
Okay, great word.
Yeah, we just won't go down that path. But afterwards, I struggled a lot mentally because of what had happened during delivery. I wasn't even sure I was going to make it out of the delivery room.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, when we were with the agency we were before that supported me through that journey, it could have been so beneficial for me to have someone to be able to talk to. And as you know, here in Canada, to get someone to talk to, unless you can afford a fortune out of pocket, it's like 6 months to a year wait list.
Yeah.
So, I suffered for that year being on a wait list to even be able to start talking to someone to start healing from that. So it was very important to me to have someone
I was going to ask that because obviously with pregnancy, there's postpartum, and then there's, obviously negative things can happen, I guess. And
absolutely. I mean, even if the pregnancy goes smoothly, there's still the emotions afterwards of,
hormones are
your milk still comes in, even though you don't have the baby at home, all of those things. And, is this normal? Is it not? We always say day 3 and 5 are the worst emotionally after delivering a surrogate baby. And it's not because you miss the baby per se, but we have so much communication with the parents, especially near the end, close to delivery, that they're busy with their newborn, and that slows down or stops briefly. And you have this now what do I do with my life? I just created this amazing thing, and all of that euphoria is now gone. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
So
we talk so much about that, the bond really being between the surrogate and the intended parents. There has to be, of course, enough of a bond and connection to grow a healthy baby. And, certainly we went into it knowing that there had to be connection. It wasn't like you were going to be cold about it, but the bond and the real time spent together is with the intended parent. And lots of times when I speak to women who are considering being surrogates, they say, they're concerned about that. And they go about how will I just, carry this being? And then, but because it's obviously a very different process of getting pregnant, it's not like how that surrogate would have with her partner. But right from the beginning, as soon as you connect with the intended parents, you read their profile, you read their story, what brought them here, and then you start speaking with them and you find even more things that connect you and you feel even more that you want to do this for them. You see everything through their eyes. So like, you go and you do get pregnant, but again, it's not romantic. And then you're carrying this baby, but it's them who are like, doing the shopping. It's them who are stressing about like, where's the crib going to go? And how do you do a car seat? And how do you so you just kind of stand back and you're kind of watching, and it's fun. And it's so beautiful because like you're remembering when you went through that, but you also aren't feeling any other worry. Like,
it's like all the stressy parts.
Yeah, exactly. All the stress stuff is on them, but you also have that like extended duty where you can sort of embark some of your wisdom and like, or I loved this car seat, or I did this was my teething trick, or whatever, so the bond really is
stay connected with the parents after, or is it
for us? That's our hope. Like for me personally, that was my choice when I picked parents. I did want that for my kids too. I wanted them to have that sort of a cousin relationship is what I've always sort of referred to it as. And it's our hope within the agency. I think most women, again, that's a big question. They're worried, like it's going to be like you're going to have this baby and then you're going to drop off the face of the earth. And so it's our hope that that doesn't happen. We want to try and get people on the same page as far as what they're looking for in that long-term relationship or relationship. But
when we're interviewing with the parents and stuff like that, it's very important that we take on clients that are open to this lifelong friendship. If they're very cold and just like, we just want a baby, those aren't the types of parents we want in with us. Like we want, obviously it's gonna, what you put into the relationship throughout the journey is what you're going to bond with and develop. If you don't talk, you don't communicate much other than, baby updates, had an appointment today. But if the parents aren't showing their appreciation and messaging and taking a lead on that too, you don't have that necessarily bond, so that may not be how you intended. My very first journey, we always said, we're going to talk, we're going to visit. The kid's very, it was important to me as a first journey. That's what I wanted. It didn't end up working that way. Mom was battling, she had cancer, and then it was suppressed remission for so long. Then they started building a family, but it came back partway through the pregnancy. So I understand, like, obviously she was very involved with her own health and not really thinking about keeping the relationship going with me. But she has since passed from her cancer, and it was actually on her deathbed. She texted me apologizing. I'm going to cry again. Apologizing for not having the relationship that we had always talked about. And it was the very next morning, Dad texted me saying that she had passed. So obviously she was, making her amends of what she needed to say before she could let go. But so his birthday was actually just turned 8 a few days ago. So Dad sent me a picture of him with their new puppy.
Oh, that's so cute.
So, I always hope to at very least just see picture updates. I don't necessarily have to see them in person.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to connect
geography
again.
sometimes
is, especially
with people
for
being all around the world. But it's the hope that it's an extension of everybody's family, like not just making people parents, but
so you're like also building a little community.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. And what I've learned seeing people raise children is it takes a village, and you're just
it really does.
Helping.
You can't do it yourself.
No, you can't.
I tried.
Yeah, no, you can't.
I failed miserably. Day 3, I was just sitting covered in everything that you can imagine, all of it. And my mom's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like,
"Nope,
no."
Yeah. It's hard. It's a big job.
Yeah, with the triplets, obviously we had a lot of appointments, so I became very close with that family, and we even got like my mom and her mom together, and we all had lunch.
That's so nice.
Now it's my mom. She has this big in-ground pool at her place. She invites them to the pool and party, and then she texts me after saying, "Oh, by the way, they're coming this date." I'm like, I'm glad I'm invited to the party of the, with the kids that I helped create into this world. Glad you guys are so besties.
If people are interested in being a surrogate or donating eggs or embryos, how can they reach out? Is there a commitment? Like, how would that work?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing is to just reach out and we can have a conversation. There's no commitment in any conversation. It's really just sharing information and hearing where we could potentially support if we're a good fit to be a part of that support for that client. Right on the website, Facebook, anything like that, they can send an email.
And we'll share all those in our show notes and when we post on Instagram.
Yeah, that's great. And the other thing too is if there's anybody in the community who would like to talk about any kind of promotional collaboration with that kind of stuff, we'll be looking at that for 2023.
Speaking of which,
sponsorships and stuff.
You guys just gave away like a crazy thing on social media.
Yes.
You gave away like, so it's worth $26,000.
Yes.
So is it like a surrogacy or an
So it's a complete agency support. So all of our team available to them throughout their whole program, and also the legal fees covered. So two of our lawyers. It is, it's huge.
When we announced the contest, 2 of lawyers that we
work with most often,
connected with, they wanted to make it even more enhanced.
Yeah. It makes me realize there are good people in the world. I have goosebumps.
Good lawyers.
Good lawyers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there are. Yeah,
because obviously to make everything safe for all parties, there needs to be an extensive legal contract in place. It goes over everything as far as, bed rest amounts, like if you were lost wages, even the parents, God forbid, they both pass away in some horrific car crash or something, who they would appoint as the guardian of this baby. So it's just very important that even people who are looking at doing surrogacy journeys independently and looking to cut costs, because it is an expensive process, the first thing we always say is never skip on legal. That is important. All those horror stories I talked about in the US.
Of my life too. Like always put it on paper, sign a document.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, all the horror stories in the US that you hear about of, everything gone wrong, it's usually because they didn't have a legal contract.
Okay.
We should definitely.
That's what I'm going to call this episode. Have a legal document.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but no, that's great. If we can point people in the direction of social media, they'll be able to see that contest, and we are still looking for someone to carry for them. They've not been chosen, so
same-sex couple winner, and
they would love to find. This is no secret, but I would love to find a local surrogate for them because I really want to meet them. So delivery always happens local to the surrogate. That's another fun fact that some people don't know. So even if your intended parents are in Ireland, they will come here to Belleville to get their baby.
Do I want to have another baby?
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
No, I had a really...
You have bad pregnancy, bad postpartum.
Come on.
It'll be different. You have support.
You'll have us at your door every day.
Oh my God, I keep hitting the mic.
So funny.
We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk.
I'm not opposed to it because I had 2 very emotionally traumatic pregnancies that to have one where I would feel supported but not actually have to keep the baby is perfect.
I literally just spoke to a woman right before we sort of closed, because we don't really ever close. But so when I was doing a consult with a woman who was considering, and that was literally what it was, because we were talking about how in our connecting process, we want to find people, so if you had this major dream of having a home birth and haven't had that yet, we would be looking to try and fulfill that for you too. So finding intended parents who, would be open to that or like that idea. But yeah, that's such a good point that, before the end of, your reproductive stage of life, having an experience where you were so supported by women and I mean, obviously I'm biased. I want every woman to do it because I think it's the best experience ever. And for me, I was cut off medically because my deliveries were C-sections. So I was sliced open enough times.
She had a fun C-section.
Did you?
Okay, so my son just did not want to come out. That one, yeah. So I had Dr. Chanda and her husband, and she was like, okay, she's like, don't be alarmed. There's going to be a man standing above you. And I'm like, pardon? Next thing I know, I just see legs. Yeah. And he's pulling or doing something. I don't know. I didn't feel it.
Yeah. They're a great team.
I saw my friend give birth. That was an experience.
Yeah.
There was fluids. I was like,
yeah.
And then my mom's like, aren't you? I'm like, I'm never doing that.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah.
So, we are both actually doulas as well.
Yeah.
Julia supported me with several of my deliveries.
Can I ask? I have no idea what that means.
What a doula is?
No idea.
It's basically someone that supports you through your labor and delivery and postpartum.
God damn it. I could have used
Is it
that.
similar to a midwife?
So non-medical.
Non-medical.
So
okay.
yeah. So there. I mean, obviously, there's the
emotional support.
Emotional and advocating and another person there to be making sure it goes as you wish and hope. And
Jesus, I could have used that.
Yeah.
Postpartum is a wicked bitch.
Yeah. So I started doing postpartum stuff originally with all of my surrogate friends because with my own experiences, always drawing from life experience.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a baby to take care of at the end of the day after delivery, all of my family thought I didn't need help. It didn't matter. Even when I delivered on the 23rd, I still had to do December 23rd, I should say, all of the Christmas craziness and take care of my kids.
This year?
No.
God.
8 years ago.
8 years ago.
No, I was like, wait, hold on.
It was, my family was just like, you're fine. You just had a baby, but you're sleeping at night. I'm like, okay. But like my body just went through a whole lot and I've got milk coming in and
I made
hormones.
a person.
Yeah.
An entire complete one.
And I'm like, I still had to do all of the things. Yeah. Anyways, so it was very important for me to be able to offer that support for postpartum for surrogates locally to say
it's part of what we do.
If your family won't help you, I will help you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's part of what we do for all our surrogates too. Like even if they're not here locally, they're all over Canada, mostly Ontario at this point. But we'll do the legwork again to look at doula collectives that are in their area and connect with them so they understand the surrogacy application of doula care and that kind of stuff, and make sure that they have that support during and after if they want it. Yeah.
There's been some times I've gone to a home visit where, my intention is to help her with cleaning or laundry or whatever it may be. And she's like, I just need to sit and talk. Yeah. I'm like, I will bring coffee.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You two are doing great things. And you give me all the warm and fuzzy feelings. Like, you're just genuine humans.
Well, I'm so glad you guys... I'm so glad I found you guys and we connected.
I'm so glad that you just forced me to come with you.
Well, it's very comfortable, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's not it's scary when you're like, you're going to sit in front of a microphone.
Yeah.
But like,
you should have seen me, like, the horrible shakiness when I had to record our
radio
act.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Yeah. I suddenly couldn't read.
We just need to like start recording radio ads here.
I can't read when I have to be on the radio. I'm like,
I know. I'm
words.
like, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Is there anything we missed that you we didn't touch on? Like, I know.
I just assumed this was going to be like a monthly.
Yeah, maybe.
Just updates all the time.
Updates? Yeah. Cool, actually.
Yeah, there we go.
Content.
One thing that came to mind was that you don't actually have to have a previous pregnancy in order to be a surrogate.
Oh, that's actually good to know.
Katie.
Yes, I know. Right?
This is a hostile work environment. I haven't had my period in like 3.5 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I'm going to the doctor, don't worry.
Okay.
It's been like my whole life. I've never been, I just say this is a hostile work environment because like I don't want to have a baby in it.
Yeah, I mean, most commonplace to have at least one healthy pregnancy prior to being a surrogate, but it's not necessarily mandatory with a few of the clinics that we work with. They just do some extra medical testing, some mock cycles with medication to make sure your body was responding, all of those things, so they can, make it so that...
Yeah. And you can still be a surrogate if your tubes are tied?
Oh.
Yeah. Fun fact.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, even if you are in early menopause. Yep. Because they can use medication to bring you back out of it. We had a surrogate that we supported.
Yep, she delivered at 51.
Yeah, she's 51.
Holy shitballs.
Crazy. This is sad to admit, but I just watched like an animation on Instagram of like how a woman's cycle works. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was like, no one taught me all that.
Right?
So.
I know. Yeah, Sophie had sex ed last year.
How was that? Right?
She was like, okay, but hold on. There's more about uterus and stuff that we need to go over.
Yeah. They don't teach you that.
No, they don't. Yeah.
I'm like,
I know. There's a lot they don't
I just watched like a video from like the 70s, I think, in grade 11, and I was like, ah!
Yeah.
My mom worked in maternity.
Oh.
So I'm familiar.
Yes. Very familiar.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've hit all the major points.
Yeah, and we'll share all the socials and stuff. And thank you for coming. This was such a great chat. So you can find out more about New Hope Surrogacy and egg donation at newhopesurrogacy.ca. You can follow them on Instagram at New Hope Surrogacy Inc. And you can like them on Facebook. Where is it? At New Hope Surrogacy Inc. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
That was amazing.
We're doing this over video, so it's different.
Yeah, no, that was rough, but I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, I say it every time, but that was amazing. They came in, Julie and Jenna came in just so willing to share both their experiences and what they're doing, and we're so open.
I was like, because I'm always scared to meet new people, but they just totally embraced us. Like, sat down and like instantly just comfortable. They're like, okay, let's go. Like, let's do this. Like, open book. I was like, sick.
Yeah. And you know what? I believe there's no dumb questions. So yeah, I asked some weird questions, but sometimes you got to know what.
Honestly, I feel like that's totally okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the vibe I hope that we, put off, that we have like a safe space to answer or ask those stupid questions.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, I'm definitely thinking those questions, and I bet other people are too.
Yeah. I know. It's but they're doing great things, and I think people need that support, and I'm sure so many people are going through it, and they both have had insane, like, they've both been surrogates. They just seem like very loving humans and mothers, and I appreciated that.
I really admire everything that they do for like their clients, for the community. Like, I just think it's beautiful. Like, I really genuinely think what they're doing is like a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and as you said, I'm never sure, because usually one of us somewhat knows the person coming on, but they reached out to us, and I was nervous. I was like, I don't know what to expect, but it seems that it kind of works out every time. So.
Well, I think that I also would like to think that we kind of attract people who want to be on the podcast, like either have listened to it or they kind of know our vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really should be way less nervous about people wanting to hang out with us on the pod.
We both have anxiety though, so it's just there. Anxiety. In other news, I did go to my doctor, so...
how did that go?
Great. I have cystic acne. And I'm going to see a dermatologist again.
Great.
So
Fun.
So fun. And I feel like I had something else to say to you, which happens a lot. I should have written it down.
Should have written it down. We have, we got some final kind of like proofs of our merch.
Like, it's coming. It's happening.
It's so cute.
It's so cute. I really hope you guys order it because, please. Please order fun merch.
I know I'm going to order one.
I'm going to order one.
Which kind of defeats the purpose, but I mean, I don't care.
I don't care.
Because it's adorable.
It's so cute and so practical, and like, this is just the first run. We also still have keychains, magnets, and stickers. You can order it from our website. Our website's a work in progress because we both have full-time jobs as well as we do this. So, bear with us.
Please, babe. I mean, send us a DM too. Like, we're flexible.
We'll
like,
get
it doesn't have to be through the website.
No.
We can take e-transfers.
I don't care.
We're not bougie, fancy bitches. Like, we can figure it out.
No.
We'll drive it to you within city limits. God.
I've been watching Below Deck. Would recommend.
Okay, wait. What is
Have you never watched Below Deck?
I don't even know what this is.
It's people who work on like private yachts that get chartered out, and it's just like the deck crew and the like housekeepers on the yacht, and like them having to deal with like the private guests that come on the boat, and them like dealing with each other and like having romantical things and hating. Oh, it's so good. It's such trash television. It's giving me life. So
I love a good trashy TV show.
Yeah, like I can't look away. I love it so much. So
did you finish The Sex Life of College Girls?
Oh, yeah. I went through that in like a week. I was done. So good. I might rewatch it. I rewatched all of Schitt's Creek, which also was a vibe. So I just need feel-good shows.
I love Dan Levy.
I love him so much. I think that
like a concerning amount of...
Did you went to the doctor?
No.
Oh, I thought you were going to the doctor.
Did I?
Yeah. No.
No, I'm just staying in bed.
Oh, that's what WFH means. Work from home.
Work from home.
I thought it was like a clinic. I was like, okay. I'm not good with short form. Sorry, but I figured it out.
Work from home.
Now I see. Yeah.
No, it was just funny because I was like, I sent that text to you, and then you were like, "Are you like working from home today?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bitch."
I thought you were going to some walking. I was like, okay, walk. I saw the W and I was like, she's going to a walk-in clinic. Like, that's what my brain did. Oops. I'm so pretty. That's what Jeanette says when I say dumb things. She's like, you're so pretty. I'm like, thank you. Also, let's remember it's depression season. So whatever you need to do to be somewhat happy, do it. I don't care. Whatever it is. Don't like hurt anyone.
For sure.
But
like, I want to be excited about the new year, but like there's no snow.
There's no, I don't even like, January and February are not my vibe. It makes me sad.
Okay, so the shining light of February is it's Lincoln's third birthday.
Are you gonna have a party? Can I come?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come.
Should we go rock
Am I gonna
climbing?
have a party? I don't know.
Oh,
but,
okay.
I mean,
should it be bluey themed?
I mean, he should. He's not.
That'd be cute.
He would probably. He's really into cars right now. So if I need to find like a big truck. I'm gonna call the fire department.
Oh, that's cool.
He loves buses too.
He needs like
whatever the buses drive by. Loves it.
Love it. Okay, get it, Lincoln. I love that.
Yeah.
So I guess there's things to look forward to. I need to write them down.
Yeah, because I do this thing every so often, like once a week. I kind of just like write down good shit.
Yeah, I saw this video, and you every week on a post-it note you like write down something good that happened. You put it in a jar, and then at the end of the year you read them. And I kind of like that energy.
Oh, that's cute. We should do that.
I'm gonna try and be more my like intentions for I don't make resolutions, but my intention is to like be more present and just like focus on the good and take a breath.
I think that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start. I have those ramen Post-it notes on my desk. I'm gonna start doing that with those.
Yeah, I like that. Let's do that. And then
feel free to use them.
Thank you. I don't really have anything else except follow New Hope if you need help having a baby, making babies, or if you feel like you could be a surrogate, egg donor, embryo donor. Yeah.
Or if you want to just start a family and you want to adopt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There are many options.
There's so many options, and they're there to assist you along the way. And do you have anything?
And they're just genuinely good people.
Yeah, just great people and want to help you in what you're doing. And they're local, which we love.
Love it.
And next week we have another fun guest. January we have some fun things happening.
Yeah, we have like a serious chat, and then we have a bunch of goofy chats.
And we have the most people coming into the studio ever.
Yes, we have our first returning guest. We have probably the most famous mayoral candidate ever.
I can't. I love it.
We have people who are just doing incredible things in the community. Like, January is stacked with really good guests. I'm very excited about it.
And February. Sorry, I'm taking a photo. But otherwise, have a great week. And
yes,
stay positive.
Make good choices.
And order merch.
Order merch. And yeah.
And thank you to Family Dental Center for believing in us.
Oh, forever. And thankful. I'm going back next week. Invisalign consults.
Ooh, exciting.
So not only did I get my cavity filled, I am now going to talk about straight teeth. So coming for you guys.
Okay, well, feel better, you.
Thank you. I'm working on it. I'm sure I'm going to be fine by tomorrow. I think I just need a good night of sleep.
Yeah, well, let me know what I can do to